call this meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Iowa Vista Community Services District Board of Directors. I'd like to announce the meeting is being recorded. Jonathan, can you please call the roll?
Dr. Brandt?
Here.
Dr. Palat, I think, is joining us by Zoom, but not.
I'm here. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Director Hobart?
Here.
Dr. Sipos?
Here.
Dr. Topple?
Here.
Okay.
I didn't say here. I don't remember if my name got called.
Oh, Director Freeman. Sorry.
Here.
Council, if you're on the line, do we need to do anything to accept the remote participation?
So I assume that Directors Freeman and Palat are participating under AB 2449. Is that correct?
Yes. The same.
I don't know what law it is. I'm sick and likely contagious.
Okay.
Whatever that is.
So Director Freeman is participating via Zoom using one of his AB 2449 exceptions for just cause. So all you need to do, Jay, is announce if there is anyone else in the room with you who is above the age of 18.
There is currently not, but at some point before this meeting is over, there likely will be one person, Amber Kaplan.
Okay, and same thing for you, Edward.
There's currently no one in the room with me, but later in the meeting there might be. I will announce if there's anyone else in the room with me, but as of now, no, there's no one in the room with me.
And for the record as well, Director Palat is utilizing one of his AB 2449 just cause exemptions.
Okay, thank you, Council.
There is a very adorable dog, though.
Oh, he is very adorable.
I'd also like to announce before we continue that we are only going to be able to get through the first two discussion and action items because at a certain point, Director Sipos will need to leave, and at that time we'll lose quorum in person. And so just as a notice to the public, I'm going to be trying to run the meeting as quickly as possible so that we can get through our first two items today. So with that, we're going to go to the land acknowledgement. Before we begin, we'd like to acknowledge the Chumash people who are the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respects to the Chumash elders, past, present, and future, who call this place, Anascoyo, the land that Isla Vista sits upon, their home. We are proud to continue their tradition of coming together and growing as a community. We thank the Chumash community for their stewardship and support, and we look forward to strengthening our ties as we continue our relationship of mutual respect and understanding. Let's go to consent agenda. Any directors have items they wish to pull? Seeing none.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Motion by Topple. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Sipos. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none, let's go to roll call vote.
Director Brandt?
Yes.
Director Freeman?
Yes.
Director Hobart?
Yes.
Dr. Palat?
Yes.
Dr. Sipos?
Yes.
Dr. Topple?
Yes.
Motion passes. We're going to move to public comment. This is a time where any member of the public may speak on any matter that is not on today's agenda. The board will not take action on any item not on the agenda except as provided for by law. Do we have any general public comments today?
No.
Okay, seeing no general public comments, we're going to move to item 4.1, annual MTD service changes. And we have Ms. Blackaby here from Santa Barbara MTD.
Hello. Okay. Good evening, directors. And I have some slides. I'm going to go quick and stick to the things I think you probably care the most about. So every year in April, we go out to the public about proposed service changes that would go into effect in August of this year, of the same year. And so we're sort of winding up the end of our public process with that, and always come see you fine folks. So go ahead to the next slide. August 18th is when they go into effect. This is just a quick overview. I'm going to talk about a new PM peak trip, just in one direction, inbound trip on the line 24X that we're proposing to add. Drum roll, start of the Wave microtransit service in Glendon, Isla Vista, finally, really, actually happening. I'll mention briefly downtown waterfront shuttle and then fare change details. So go to the next slide, So for the Line 24X, this is of course our express route between, downtown, UCSB, IV, Community Rural Marketplace, around 7 days a week. Weekdays is about every 35 minutes right now. Currently, if you think about around 5 p.m. at UCSB, a lot of people get off work or are done for the day with school and need to get back to downtown Santa Barbara. Right now, there's a bus that leaves North Hall heading downtown at like 4:21 and one at 5:31. So there's kind of a gap in that time. And we've heard over the years, past couple years, because there used to be more service, but during the pandemic, we cut back, where people were like, I get done at 5 and then I gotta wait till 5:31. And so what we're hoping to do is just put in one additional trip that would start at Cirque and Hollister at 4:56 and then hit North Hall bus loop at 5:10 and head downtown after that, get to the transit center about 5:30-ish, 5:32. And so that way people would be getting to the transit center when normally they're leaving North Hall after 5 o'clock. So that's a very tiny service increase, but we think it'll be impactful, and there's certainly, give us a little more capacity sort of at that rush hour. So that's the only proposed additional service for this coming August. Next slide. Okay, but there are some new committee members, new directors since I was last here, but I'm sure you've still heard about it anyway. But the Wave Microtransit Service is something we've had planned for 5 years. And due to a series of unfortunate events, it's just now happening. But it's flexible, on-demand, curb-to-curb service between 2 points within a specified zone for flat fare. It's uses for transit vans instead of buses. Rides will be ordered by a smartphone app called Transloc or a call to the transit center if you can't use the app. We have temporary operating funding basically for a year in this area. And it's a regular one-way fare of $3. But if you're 65 and over, a person with disabilities, it's half that. And then you're able to get a free transfer to fixed route service or regular bus service. That's a 60-minute transfer. So if you took a Wave trip, you can get that and then get on a bus for free. It doesn't work in the other direction, as you might imagine, from bus to the Wave. And there'd be 2 ways to pay, either by cash or contactless payment. So, think Apple Pay, Google Pay, or your contactless enabled bank card. Next slide. This is the zone. As a reminder, there are sort of 2 kind of polygons at the top of this map, just to describe it briefly. The grayish blue area on the top, bounded by Patterson Avenue on the east, Cathedral Oaks to the north, Los Carneros to the west, and Kyriel and the 101 to the south. And then sort of down and to the left, there's another little zone on the other side of the freeway, south side of the freeway. All the housing on either side of Los Carneros and like Goleta City Hall, and then business park there, down to Hollister. And then there are specific points that it also goes to Goleta train station, the airport, the Ealings Hall bus circle, North Hall bus loop, and then 2 points in IV Community Center, just in the parking lots next to the Community Center, and then the outbound bus stop on El Colegio at Embarcadero del Mar. So those are the places, if you're at any of those places or within either of those zones, you can request a ride to go anywhere within those zones or to any of those places. So next slide. This has a video, which we don't need to take time to watch, but this is going to be public and live very soon, but it's basically how to use the app and how to download and book a ride. Initial operating hours will be Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. As we continue to staff up, we hope to extend those hours later into the evening and ideally adding Sunday as well. The picture here is a sign that is at all of the stops, all the points outside of those zones. So there is actually one that's still bagged up, but in this parking lot. All vehicles are ADA accessible, so they have a lift and ramp. A note about right now, if you ride the bus with your kids, they don't need a car seat. That's the thing about a bus. But this is a van, and so if you need a car seat or booster seat in a regular car, you're going to need to bring it on board the bus and you know, install it. And you have to be at least 14 years of age or older to ride alone on this service. The picture at the bottom is the stop at the airport. So it's not the bus stop on the street, but it's actually in where basically where like the hotel shuttles pick up. Yeah, next slide. So sorry, go back one. Just one thing to note about this. We've been in testing for a couple of months, doing sort of fake trips, if you will, ordering trips. People who are in MTD taking trips. We did a little bit more public testing this past weekend, and we're doing a very soft launch, the softest. But I can tell you that this, and we will have like a bigger sort of like, hey guys, it's happening world. But this coming Thursday, in 2 days, Thursday through Saturday, you will be able to, the general public will be able to book trips. So I felt like I'd never get to say that, but it's very exciting. So it will be possible to do that starting on Thursday at 10. And then the following week, it'll start the Tuesday through Saturday service. So yeah, that's that. Next slide. Downtown Waterfront Shuttle, back for summer, downtown Santa Barbara. Next. Fare change. So we did a fare change process in January through March. We've not changed fares in 16 years. We did broad outreach. We got really good feedback from the public on some proposed changes to the cash fare and passes. I won't go through all that. They're on the screen. It's very hard to see from here. But the board did adopt a new fare structure in March that will go into effect that same day. Service changes due August 18th. And so the cash fare is going from $1.75 to $2.50. And then the passes are sort of as described here, also going up, obviously. One of the main reasons, really the only main reason we have to do this is we're up against kind of a fiscal cliff, like a lot of transit agencies are in the next couple of years. We still have COVID relief funds that have been filling a gap in our budget for several years, and that will, assuming it's not just like ripped away from us somehow federally, it will be there holding us together until about 2027, 28, but that fiscal cliff is coming. So we kind of have to do everything we can to help shore these things up. And we also lost, after the last census, $3 million a year because our region became sort of medium-sized instead of small, and we didn't qualify for a certain amount of funds that we did before. So this is why we're doing this. This will not fill the whole gap by itself, certainly, but it's something that had to happen. One other note, right now, a senior with MTD is defined as 62 and older. The board voted to increase that to 65, which is a more common age with the sort of transit districts in our area, and sort of federally 65 is senior, and on the state level as well. Next slide. So if you have old bus passes, or they're not old yet, but they will be soon, right? One, we encourage you to use them up prior to August 18th. But if you find one in your wallet sometime closer to then, and you want to still use that value, once the new passes are available later in the summer, you can trade in your unused or partially used passes at the transit center, sort of for kind of store credit, if you will, like cash value of what's left on it, towards the cost of a new pass. So after August 18th, they won't work in the fare box, but you'll be able to trade them in for value towards a new pass until September 30th. So there's kind of that month and a half grace period of swap out your passes for new ones, and that is how it will work. Next slide. This is the video that we also don't have to play, but the point of this is, we've talked about the contactless payment, what we call tap to ride, here before, and that's on all of our buses, and you're able to pay, you know, by mobile wallet, or contactless bank card. One great thing about this, and this is an important equity piece, is you are able to kind of earn a day pass or a 30-day pass by tapping. So right now, if you're buying a adult 30-day pass, you're paying $52 like upfront, and then, you know, using it unlimited for 30 days. If you pay the contactless way, you're charged right now $1.75 every time. But once you've, especially if you're riding a bunch, once you've tapped up to $52, you're not going to be charged anymore within that 30-day period if you keep tapping. Now, it has to be the same device, the same card to accrue that, but it's called dynamic fare capping. And, you know, there are people who definitely pay cash because they can't afford to tie up a lot of money in a pass. But since they take the bus a lot, they're probably definitely paying more than $52 in a 30-day period, but they just don't have that sort of cash outlay at the beginning of that 30-day period. So, but this way you don't have to, you know, that you will get the deal, and you don't have to like do math or go buy another pass or something like that. And then if you go to the next slide, we're just rolling out, and I've got some stuff I'll leave here for the public, but until recently, to get the discounts that are available in passes and cash for seniors with disabilities, Medicare card holders, it wasn't available in the tap to ride, right? So you'd just be charged that adult fare. Now we have a way where if you're in one of these categories, you can enroll and link your status of being senior, person with disabilities, with your payment, and link those. And then once you've done that, when you tap, you're charged right now 85 cents for cash fare, and then you're capped at the $20, you know, say senior pass for 30 days. So we have the ability to do that. People can register for that now, and we will be having some sort of at outreach events, including the Senior Expo. We'll be able to directly enroll people, and then we'll be having some sort of pop-up hours at the transit center downtown to enroll people. If anyone knows of any groups, seniors, people with disabilities, who'd be interested in having us come out and explain this to them and enroll them, we'd be happy to participate in that as well. And then there are other videos on the next slide which we can skip. It basically shows you how to do that. And then I don't know why my picture's turned that way. That's weird, but if you tilt your head slightly, you can see that that is a 3-position bike rack, which is now fleet-wide. Every bus has a 3-position bike rack, which some of them had, or most of them had 2 positions, some of them had none. Our electric shuttles had none, now they have these. And this was thanks to a Measure A bike and pedestrian program grant. So that project is done. And with that, the next slide. Everything I've described today is available at this website, sbmte.gov/service changes. And there's a survey there that also explains this, and you can give feedback there, and that'll be open through the end of the month. And with that, happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you very much for the presentation. Any questions from board members? Seeing none online either, I'll ask a couple things. Does the rate have bike racks too?
It does not.
Okay.
It does not. Yeah, at this point, it doesn't. I think somewhere there's a 1 bike rack thing that fits on a Ford Transit van, but it's not something that came with ours or that we've explored yet. So we're gonna take baby steps into this world.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to ride the wave. I've been excited to ride the wave, and it's so awesome that it's finally here. So I'll be out there and testing it this weekend when it's up and running.
Great.
A question about the payment options for that too, because I'm seeing this and I'm thinking this is something that as we as you may know, we are embarking into more of a parking enforcement role in the future. And an important part of that is having a carrot as well as a stick for folks to help people change their habits and live car-free. I'm wondering if there are other vouchers or things like that that the Community Services District could purchase from MTD to give out to people to help try to encourage ridership on the ways.
Great question. It doesn't currently exist, but we'd be happy to have conversations about what that could look like. And actually, two things I want to mention about that. UCSB and City College student IDs obviously work for free rides on buses. That does not extend to the wave, so students will have to pay for that. And then one thing to say is for this soft launch, so through at least the end of May, it's actually free. So we're not accepting fares yet. So let us, work the kinks out of everything and, enjoy some free rides. So for now, don't have to worry about it, but ultimately, yeah, we can, have conversations about what's possible. And, I do think this is definitely a part of helping, especially some of the places it goes, Trader Joe's, things like that, right? Where people go, oh, I keep my car because on Sundays, my roommates and I go, right? So they won't be able to take it on Sunday yet. But if they move their grocery trip to Saturday, this can happen.
What's the name of the app again?
It's Transloc, so it's TRANSLOC.
And then how many vans do you guys have?
We have 3 right now. Yeah, we're getting a couple more soon, but right now we have 3.
Excellent.
Generally, there will be 2 out at any given time.
Other questions from board members to MTD? I'll open it up for public comment then. Any public comments on MTD service changes? Anything online, Jonathan? Okay. I'll bring it back for any further comments. I think last year I said that it felt like Christmas when you come each year and give us a bunch of new fun toys, and that's how it feels again this year. We're so excited that the wave is operational. I just want to thank you for all of your dedication to get this thing up and running. I know it hasn't been easy. There have been lots of hiccups along the way, but the fact that it's here makes everything all so much worth it. And so I'm really excited about that. And I think the adding the additional trip on 24X will also be really well received. If in the future, one thing my sort of pet project ask would be to consider another one in the early hours too, in between sort of, I think it's that 8:35 p.m. or sorry, a.m. and 9:30. Or 8:35 a.m. and 9:45 a.m. arrival downtown. I would be on that bus, so that's my pet ask there. But I just again really appreciate all of your work getting these services up and running.
Thank you.
Thanks. And I'm going to leave. Actually, not given them to anyone, but you're the first ones. The rack card about the service, and then I brought info about the after ride. Eligibility, enrollment, and then this is a window cling for the Ivy Community Center. Catch the wave here, and people can snap the QR code. So that's the goods. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll see you out there.
All right, we are going to move to the next item, which is item 4.2, Stessa Raise the Bar campaign.
They're not here yet.
Okay.
They were coming in person. They're presenting in person.
Did we give them a time?
I did tell them.
Okay.
So, yeah, just tell them where
Gotcha.
they're at. I
We'll,
texted and I haven't heard back.
sounds good. Maybe while we wait, if we want to just do reports from the board. Do board members have reports they'd like to share?
Well, we went to the co-op meeting on, what was that, Saturday? And I, for one, like the initiative they're taking. I got their emails today about what do they call them? The tiger committees. I think they have a good plan. I think they're being a little steep in their ass, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. They're hoping for what, $50,000 by the end of May in fundraising. Does that account for our donation too?
The impression I got was, yes, ours was already accounted for.
Okay. And then $100,000 in the summer, and then another $200,000 by end of year. Which is that another or altogether 200?
My read on it was cumulative, so
okay.
these are benchmarks. We want to get to 50
Yeah.
by end of May, 100 by the end of summer, 200
Yeah.
by, yeah.
I think they have a lot of good experience on their committees though, so hopefully they can get it done.
Yeah. The both of us volunteered to help with how we can with fundraising. And yeah, it'll really be a community effort to try to save our grocery store. And
Yeah.
so I appreciated that their presentation was very transparent with the financial situation that they're in, which is not good. And that the board was very direct with the community, I believe, about how they take responsibility for some of the challenges and are taking a more active role to try to steer the ship in a more fiscally sustainable direction. So yeah, that's the update from me.
Was there any discussion about like what we had talked about with them about going to classes or like trying to reach the UCSB community, like within their fundraising?
So they mentioned that they're going to have a committee that is the outreach committee.
Yeah. Which I'm sure that tabling and going to classrooms will be on that benchmark. I also joined that one, so I can benchmark.
Good. I'm glad that we've got someone on the inside there. Excellent. Just other report that well, Jonathan might mention this, that I attended the Bloom Center panel yesterday about rental housing issues in Isla Vista, where Jonathan was a panelist, represented us very well, talking about our rental housing mediation program. And it was a good discussion. We got a little bit of a preview of the county's rental housing inspection program from Eleanor Gartner from Supervisor Cap's office, where she shared that the plan is to have proactive inspections starting during the summer of rental housing on Del Playa. And there was a lot of discussion about mold and sort of public health related things that these inspections will be looking for. I think the general vibe of attendees was hoping for more information about what specifically would be the things that inspectors would be looking for. And we'll be looking forward to learning more information as we know more. So let's see. Any reports from committees? Do we have any committee meetings?
Our finance committee meeting will be May 7th at 5:30.
Excellent. Report from district council.
Yes, just a brief report for you all. We have received a Public Records Act request for some records that involved members of the board. So Sydney should be reaching out to all of you, but just as a reminder, please produce any emails, documents, text messages, anything that relates to the PRA request, and I will go through it on my end. But this is just a reminder to please produce everything.
Excellent, thank you. Report from general manager.
All right, so on my report, quick thing on our safety stations program, the second station that's usually on Del Playa is temporarily moving to Rodapel Park, which is also on Del Playa, for the rest of the spring quarter because of construction at Window to the Sea. Our rental housing mediation program, you mentioned that we've been on the road presenting there yesterday, and it did go well. The legal advice part seemed extra popular, and so it's good. Just reinforces the fact that we did that. As one of the goals that we've discussed, we're meeting with the county tomorrow to talk about the $250,000 they allocated for lighting and where is that and why hasn't it been spent yet. So we're gonna get an answer to you on that soon. We've been having some good debriefs on our community festival. It seems like 100 years ago now, but it's only been 2.5 weeks. But we've been, going to different meetings and getting feedback. It's all been positive, but things to improve. And related to that is IV Safe. Again, it's on our agenda, but May 7th is the next IB Safe 2, where we'll mainly be talking about debriefing Deltopia. And then our, like I said, finance committee also May 7th, and we're starting to build our budget. And so that's in the process right now, and we'll get hopefully a good update at the finance committee. But all the programs are now starting to put together their 25, 26 versions of their budget. So that's one of the current main jobs to do right now. That's my report.
Okay, any questions for Jonathan? Okay, seeing none, and I think we're still waiting on our.
Not a question, but I need to announce that I'm going to be moving into a public area, so I won't be alone.
Okay, thank you, Director Platt. Okay, since we're still waiting, do we think we want to do IB Safe? Do you think we have enough time to get through that?
We can do that.
Just taking grab bag.
I have like 10.
That's
okay.
We can
We'll work with
it. Yeah. IB Safe is going to be pretty simple at this next meeting. Well, short agenda, not simple. Talking about Deltopia. Sorry, this is supposed to be 45. But we're going to be talking about Deltopia, debriefing what happened, how to improve for next year from the different groups that are involved. And then also related to today's board meeting is we're going to be talking about the Raise the Bar campaign as well, which you're about to hear a presentation on. So I'll let Elsa do that. And those are the only 2 agenda items, just because we don't want to overpack IB Safe and just focus on the big issue.
Okay. Only comment on this is, do we need to appoint an alternate to this?
Yes, that would be good if we can, just so that we have someone there.
Yeah. So it sounds like Director Plott has a academic commitment during that time, and I think it would be, given everything that happened in Deltopia, really important to have a student there. Would either of you be interested in alternating for this meeting, May 7th from 12 to 2?
I have work at 1, but I can stop that out.
I can go. I just get out of my class at 12:15, so I was like 15 minutes late.
Yeah, you just
that's totally
miss the networking, but you'll make the whole like agenda items part of it.
Yeah, that's
and
we'll save you from having to ask for time off.
Okay, maybe I'll go for the first hour.
We can only have 1.
Oh, never mind. I won't be there.
Okay, do we need a motion for this appointment, or is this an appointment that I can make?
I think it's 1.
Okay, so appointed as the alternate. We're gonna close this item and move very quickly to, and my apologies to you, Mr. Granados, we are potentially going to lose quorum very quickly because we have a number of board members absent, but we want to get through this as quickly as possible. Absolutely. So that we can give you time to present. So this is item 4.2, Stessa's Raise the Bar campaign. Please take it away.
Okay, and where would be the best place, given that you have someone on?
Oh, you're good where you are.
Okay, great. My name is Elsa Granados, and I'm the Executive Director of Standing Together to End Sexual Assault. And we provide services to survivors of sexual assault and their loved ones. Often loved ones need some guidance and support in order for them to support the person who has been assaulted. And we provide intervention programs through crisis counseling. We are best known for our 24-hour hotline. And also we provide long-term counseling. And then another program we have is an educational program in different ways. We're in the schools, we're at civic organizations, we're at with businesses, providing also sexual harassment prevention. I come to you today to speak with you about a very specific project, the Raise the Bar project. And we have received funding for 5 years from the Department of Public Health, California Department of Public Health, to conduct a community mobilization project here in Isla Vista as it relates to Isla Vista and State Street, the State Street nightlife industry. So back in 2015 and 2016, we conducted a sexual assault awareness month campaign. Like April is sexual assault awareness month. And each April we come up with a campaign to raise awareness and spread the message of prevention of sexual assault. In 15 and 16, what we did was we went into the nightlife industry and we trained bar owners and their staff about sexual assault and identifying vulnerabilities around the overconsumption of alcohol, and also about how that related to sexual assault, and so that bar staff could feel some sort of or have tools to intervene in such vulnerabilities. Every night, as we were told, bar staff see those vulnerabilities, see various people walking out. They've overconsumed alcohol and they are walking out with somebody that they don't know. And sometimes sexual assault occurs. And so we conducted an educational campaign with the nightlife industry. They liked it so much that they asked us to come back in 2016 and do that again. We did. And so fast forward to 2022, I believe, and there were students in Dr. Waleed's communications class. They had conducted research of their own, and they saw that a campaign like this would be useful, but to press forward one level up and see if we as a community could effect an ordinance which would compel the nightlife industry to take training from us. So the students approached me to see if we were willing to help. Of course we were willing to help, but this is something that they were pushing forward. There's a similar ordinance in different places. One such place is West Hollywood. And so they wanted to see if we could explore modeling that ordinance. And we have been doing that. The Department of Public Health, where they come in, is that they conduct various or give funds for various educational prevention campaigns. And so when this came up, when that funding opportunity came up, I went back to the students and I said, hey, I know we were all planning to do this on our own time, voluntarily, but this opportunity, this funding opportunity came up. Would you be interested in having us apply at STESA for this grant to move forward? Perhaps it will help us expedite that project. They were, of course, very excited about it. We moved forward. We received a grant for a period of 5 years, wherein we will conduct this community mobilization in order to see if the community all along, each step of the way, still wants an ordinance, or if there's a different way that they want us to look at the prevention of sexual assault as it pertains to the nightlife industry. So we have gathered a group of stakeholders. Associated Students is our partner, our 501c3 partner. We're a 501c3, and we are partnering with them. And also there's department heads at UCSB. There's some that are affiliated with City College and other organizations throughout Isla Vista. We also will be involving Spanish-speaking families. And in the project, we're just at the beginning of year 2. So that in a nutshell is what we're doing. What we would like is that to see if you all would be willing to support that effort. And that support can look a few different ways. Maybe one of you would be willing to sit on our stakeholders group, or we come to you for advice in relation to this community. The other reason that where Isla Vista comes into that is because, as you may know, there are buses that leave out of Isla Vista specifically to go down to downtown Santa Barbara wherein the people who board the bus may already have been intoxicated, or they get further intoxicated in Santa Barbara, in the establishments there. And we're trying to build some sort of buffer, if you will, around that overconsumption of alcohol, so that people are kept safer. Now, not safe, only perpetrators can create safety. And us as a community in relation to how we tolerate sexual assault, however, safer for those who participate. And I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have, and hope that you will support our efforts.
Excellent. Thank you very much for the
Thank you.
presentation. Any questions from the board?
I'm just wondering what you're imagining is the kind of support that we could give.
So as I mentioned, perhaps one of you wants to sit in as a part of our stakeholder group. That would be awesome. We have broken up into various committees: outreach and recruitment, policy committee, the general stakeholder group. So there's various committees that media, education, there's various committees that one can participate on, and will keep you informed about what's happening with the project all along. There will be other times, one more, is that, you know, I don't live in Isla Vista. I live in Santa Barbara. So although I come to Isla Vista frequently, I don't know the full culture of being here, of living here, of what it's like to, I also not someone who gets on a bus and goes to Santa Barbara to drink. I don't even go from the west side of Santa Barbara to drink. So I need information from people who do, who use that, who seek that opportunity, who have fun that way, so that we can better inform our campaign in order to move this forward.
Thank you for that. Any other questions from the board? Any public comment on this item?
I think it's a great idea. I'm part of AS and stuff like that, so like I'm glad to hear that we're partnered with you guys. And I was kind of curious how that partnership works. Like, how does that all work?
Yes. So both your president and your vice president, participate on the stakeholder committee.
Okay.
And they, part of the grant, we give to AS a certain amount of funds so that you will disperse as you see fit in a way that's related to the project.
Right. Sounds great. Thank you.
And I know she's out right now, but Ms. Maricela Marquez also participates on the stakeholder committee. In fact, she chairs the policy committee.
Nice. Okay.
Well, thank you very much for being here in the presentation. I know I'm very supportive, and I think I speak for all of us when I say we're very supportive and wanting to help move this effort forward. I think the idea of an ordinance is awesome. I also think there's a lot of maybe room to extend the trainings that you're doing with bartenders to students that are throwing house parties.
Yeah.
So we'd love to be a part of this effort in whatever advising role you find helpful. And we look forward to continued partnership.
That would be great. And, you know, that's wherein we can use your help. And I guess I want you to hear something else, is that sometimes people come into Isla Vista and want to do things, want to effect change in a way that doesn't honor people's rights. And we are all about honoring rights. We stand with survivors next to them so that people honor their rights. But we don't intend to go somewhere else and then dishonor rights. We want to make sure that we do it with community input. What the community wants, that's where we will go. In that regard, we're having a town hall meeting, and I have some flyers here, if I could give them to you all.
Excellent. Thank you very much for sharing that.
And I will also give you these buttons that stand with survivors.
Excellent.
May I?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
And we look forward to the partnership.
Thank you so much.
With that, I am going to adjourn this meeting, and I want to state for the record that everything on the agenda that we did not get to tonight will be scheduled for our next regular meeting, which is the first meeting in May. So with that, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We'll do the same for IVCSD.
Yes.
Sorry to rush you.
I see. You, Neha? Neha. So.
Oh.
EJ. Nice to meet you.
I have a friend that lives actually. Oh, her name's Asha.
Special one.
Yeah, it's always fun.